Welcome to week 3. Last week, I said I wanted to make it a goal to have some fun on these instruments, and we're starting off with bass. Naturally, that meant learning a classic bass line, and this one I knew so well, I decided to do it from ear. Bum, bum. I quickly realized that my ear training, though, is a bit rusty. That, in combination with being a beginner here, made this one a little bit more difficult than what I thought it was going to be. Picking out the notes, not playing it up to speed. But I almost got it. And it was fun to almost be able to play with the track and get out of the books for a little bit. The first person who can correctly guess which song this comes from gets a special shout out in the next video. Leave your answers in the comments. And no shazamming, please. Continuing with my attempt to sound a lot cooler playing these instruments, I wanted to explore what beginning jazz guitar would look like. Or sound like, I guess. A lot of the answers I found about this pointed me towards shell voicings. These are voicings of chords that guitarists and pianists will use that do not have the full chord spelled out, but they do have the important notes that determine the quality of that chord. For what I was looking at, this includes the root, the third, and the seventh scale degrees. And shell chords work in the context of playing in a larger group because other instruments will be filling out those other notes. I picked an easy blues, one that's all dominant seventh chord, so I could just learn one basic shape and move it around the fretboard. Which was also more difficult than I realized it was going to be. I think we have the makings of a theme going on here, but I almost got it. This was a good exercise to remind me the importance of actually knowing the notes that I'm playing, which you can see me do here. And I think this will be a nice add-on to think about when I'm back in the method books. So enjoy this performance of what I'm calling the very beginner blues. Last week, I said that having fun on saxophone wasn't a huge concern since I don't have too much trouble staying motivated with this instrument. But I mentioned I'm working on rolling in altered dominant sounds into my playing. So I had some fun improvising over tunes that I know well using the concept. I know, we all know Autumn Leaves, but it still counts. What this looks like for me right now is using some of the notes from the altered or super Locrian scale on the 5 chord as it resolves to the 1. And Autumn Leaves is filled with 5-1 movement, so it's a good tune to try this out on. Right now, I'm just picking the ends of phrases and trying out the sound. Still early days, but I can see where this could go once I get the hang of it. I'll do a more expanded explanation once I start to get a better grasp on it myself. Still figuring it out. I also did some writing with my theory teacher, and he's very graciously allowing me to send over something once a month to get feedback on while we're on this break. So my fun assignment on keys was getting some music written. I said before that my introduction to keys was also my introduction to composition, and depending on what I'm doing, I'll use the piano to write everything. Melodies, bass lines, and drums, but I'll record sax. I'll be honest, I kind of let this part of my musical journey fall to the wayside a bit, so it felt good to jump back in. And it got the creative juices flowing to get a theme song for a podcast I've been contracted to write done, so that was a nice bonus. This particular project is actually the first time I've written with guitar, so shout out to Modern Production Technology for allowing guitarists in training to still be able to write with it. All right, I know this week was all about fun, but I cannot call this a practice journal without some takeaways. First, figuring out that bass line, or at least starting to, showed me what playing this instrument could look like down the line. But more importantly, I need to do more ear training. Generally, oral skills has always been a weak point for me, even on saxophone. And while I do specific ear training for that instrument, I think it would be a very good idea to start rolling in simple exercises for guitar and bass as well. Playing shell voices this week showed me that I should start playing the music that I want to be playing across the board, even if I don't feel ready for it. I'm probably a little more prepared than I think, and it helps to break up some of the monotony of the method books and start using the theory concepts that I'm working on now to these instruments too. And for improv and composition, I need to keep in mind that I should be making music, always. Which I could admit that I can get a little caught up in my practicing, a little stuck in the trees while I'm in the forest, but we don't learn languages to conjugate verbs, we don't train for a sport just to run drills, and we don't practice instruments just to run scales all day. We converse, we compete, we make music. Sorry this one was late. Life was lifing this week, but happy music making, and I'll see you soon.